Welcome to another episode of Dumb and Dumbest with Matt Bacon and my beautiful co-host Curtis Dewar, where the house is on fire. Everything is terrible. Curtis
Wonderful.
Dewar, he wants it to be known that he's wonderful. I don't think he's wonderful. We're not even really friends. I don't know how he got on this show.
I don't know either.
But anyway, today we're going to talk about something that's very important to me that I think about a lot, because it really
His mom.
Jesus Christ. It really did. I was getting in a good Gary V mode, and you just shot all over it.
I know.
It really dictates how I view bands, how labels view bands, how you're going to find out if your band is successful or not. And it's something you're not going to want to hear, but we're going to have to fucking talk about it because we're trying to bring you extreme value and not blow smoke up your ass.
That's right.
So
what is it, Matt?
Anyway, this thing essentially is market need versus market gap.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if market gap's the right term for it. I might have just come up with that myself. Maybe I read it in like a marketing textbook.
I think you did because I had no idea what you were talking about at first. But what he's talking about is that there's need in the market versus what you want to do, basically.
Yes
Correct?
And no. For example, here's the example I always use. I wrote an article about this on Medium, if you want to look it up, and Clap or whatever. I don't fully understand how Medium pays out yet. Point being, let's say there is no egg salad flavored ice cream.
Really?
There's no egg salad flavored ice cream. But that also does not mean there should be egg salad flavored ice cream.
Correct.
Right? And that's sort of how it is with bands. Is just because someone isn't doing something doesn't mean that thing needs to be done. Right?
Now, reversely, though, at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean that there might not be a need for a new type of band. He's just saying if you're looking to get known fairly quickly, you might want to look at what the market needs versus what you want to do.
Well, but ultimately, it's and this is kind of shitty to say, but like ultimately, obviously genres fall in and out of style all the time, right? Nobody really gave a shit about death metal in 2012. Here we are. Death metal is all that matters. I guarantee you a fair portion of these people who are playing death metal right now were really into like that vest metal thing in 2012, which is fine. You're allowed to have different types of music speak to you at different points in your life. And if that's the music that's trending, then that's where, statistically the greatest, artistic forces are going to be. Like, you're going to find more great musicians in the popular thing. Yeah. Just statistically. Like, you might not like pop music, but like those people can fucking write songs.
It's a science behind it to get that many people to enjoy your song. There's those guys in Sweden that that's all they do.
Yeah. There's one guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it's...
Yeah, he writes like every fucking song in existence, and everybody goes to him every time they want to sell 1 million units.
Yeah, and like at the end of the day, guess what? We're like 500 years from now when none of this matters and like people can name like 3 rock artists, he's going to be one of the rock artists people name.
Yep.
Anyway, I think that if you're a band... Here's the other analogy I've been using lately that I've been enjoying. You'll appreciate this one because it's a hippy-dippy one, and I know you never shower, Curtis.
Never. Not at all. Probably because I got 2 kids.
Basically, in my eyes...
I do shower, by the way.
And so the market need... Here's where the market need thing comes in again, right? Your band is like a tree in the woods, right? And if you're in the... Like, no one listening to this podcast has watched a tree grow for its entire life cycle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But we've all seen like a million fucking trees, and like you stand in the woods for 5 minutes, you're gonna be able to be like, okay, well, this is like the end result is like a fucking tree, and like a sapling is the beginning, and here are the steps in between.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When you're a band, I think a lot of bands are looking at the fucking tree when they're not looking at like maybe a 5-year-old sapling.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the thing is, if you don't have anyone's footsteps to follow in, then what you are doing becomes infinitely harder.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when you're a band like, for example, Heavy Temple,
Mm-hmm.
who are a fantastic band in a strong tradition of fantastic bands,
Yep.
there is a clear roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and they are going somewhere where there is a market need. They started out the market need as there wasn't like sort of a doomier heavy band, that was really good in Philadelphia.
Yep.
Then they brought in other market needs because there's always like all female bands. That's a huge market need, because that's empowering. That's cool.
But keep in mind, they also had to evolve, because my recall is that they weren't all female until
They were not
2 years ago. Yeah, unless I'm mistaken. Yeah.
And important side note is they don't market themselves as all female, right? Like
No.
any band who sends me an email and says we are a female fronted doom band immediately gets deleted, because all my favorite doom bands have female singers. Like ask how many countries I've been to see Sub Rosa, but like none of my favorite doom bands that have female singers market themselves as such.
Now, reversely, I want to point out one thing with this, though.
Yeah, go ahead. Shoot.
Call me a sexist if you want, but what I've noticed is anytime there is a female member in the band and you spotlight them in some way, either put them in the front or you mention the fact, the clicks go way fucking up.
Yeah.
It just does. It just all the time. So people say that they hate it when people say female fronted, and I understand that. I don't like it either, but when you do it, I'm not joking, the difference is night and day. Like, for example, one time I did a campaign with a band that shall remain nameless. We were getting nowhere until I highlighted the fact they had a female member. Not even fucking joking. Night and day difference in coverage.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
It's true. And it was, if you got it, and they put the female musician out front, boom. It was like night and day.
Well, also, I'd like to point out that metal dudes have no clue how to market to women. Like, to an extent, that's extremely sad.
True, but I mean, at the same time, I also had a conversation with a female journalist who also admitted the fact, after bitching about the fact that she doesn't like female fronted. And I'd mentioned this fact that if you put the woman out front, boom, you get more clicks. She said, I got to admit, I clicked through to check if the girl's any good. So
sure.
Even the women do it, right?
Sure, but I think it's a different. What I'm saying is, I think it's different if, like, I will admit, like, Sub Rosa is my favorite modern band. I clicked through to Sub Rosa because it said 3-part female harmonies and and violence, and I was like, okay, I got to hear that.
I clicked through because of the Mormon angle, but that's me.
Sure, but what I'm saying is, you clicked through because I wouldn't shut up about them. First of all.
No, I heard about Sub Rosa even before I met you. I think I saw them live. No, I didn't see them live.
Anyway, we don't need to have this argument.
Yes, we do.
The point being,
we like Sub Rosa.
I like Sub Rosa, but they don't have to call it out in text. It's obvious, right? Yeah. I think that's an important distinction. And again, right. This is what we're trying to figure out, or what we're trying to explain to you, right? Is like, realize where the market need is, realize who you're catering to, and then fucking cater to them. So many people you'd be amazed how many people can identify a need and then don't actually cater to that need.
Well, here's another thing to go along with it, unless I'm mistaken where we're going with this.
Sure.
An example of not correctly catering to a market would be, for example, metal bands who try to get covered only in places like Pitchfork and Stereo Gum. That's not their audience.
Exactly.
That's a general rule. You know what I mean? But I think there's a lot of bands that are just trying to cater on that market, in the left-wing politics type market, and try to get in there. I don't think that's a good long-term strategy for them. I just don't.
Yeah.
Short-term maybe, but I don't think it's going to last.
Yeah. I also think it's important to note. It's important to note, right? So just because there's a market gap in your favorite type of music does not mean there isn't a market need in a different genre for something like what you're doing, right?
Give an example of that, Matt.
Secret Sisters, who are like a heavy bluesy band, right?
Okay.
Who I feel like if they exist, like they're really, really good. But I feel like if they existed in the stoner rock realm, it'd be a lot harder to market them than where they do exist in sort of the bluesy NPR intellectual music realm.
So you're saying that they could be marketed towards the stoner group if they wanted to be, but you think it's better that they're going towards the other areas, what you're saying?
Well, yeah, because they've identified where they can specifically cater to a need. I mean,
Yeah,
Greta Van Fleet could be in the stoner realm if they wanted to,
totally.
but instead they had the financial backing, and the wherewithal to be able to go tackle a different target market, being young, attractive people who go to Coachella. And
I almost spit out my coffee when you said that. That was funny.
but am I wrong?
No, you're totally right. It was just the market you identified is hilarious. Like that name, young, attractive people that go to Coachella.
It's it's a market. It exists.
It's a new demographic name. I love it.
What do you want from me? Anyway, this is basically what I'm trying to say is that, and this is also like, realize that a market need is only so big. This is why some of the stoner stuff is starting to really slow down, because we don't need as many stoner rock bands as we have, regardless of how good they are.
That's true. Now, but here's another thing, though, at the same time, is you can still get into that market with enough of a push.
So. Very much so. Don't get me wrong. That's a huge market.
But yeah, especially the stoner doom genre seems like, to me, it seems like that's like a never-ending source of being able to do well in, just because they've got such rabid fans.
They do.
Fucking crazy how many rabid fans. But anyways, what I was going to say was totally lost my trail of thought because we started talking about that. But anyways, I'll let you keep talking, Matt.
Right.
Yes.
And I think that this is the final thing to sort of look at when you're trying to identify a market need, is you are identifying where there are rabid fans, right? You don't want to identify where there are sort of interested fans. That's basically useless. Nobody's getting anywhere because they were sort of interested in your band.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need to be looking at, where can I find the most devout fucking maniacs, and what genres have the most devout fucking maniacs? This is why Kiss got so successful as a rock band, right? Is because they just had a bunch of crazy people really into Kiss.
And they marketed to kids too, a lot. Hardcore, heavily.
They were kind of the first rock band to market to kids, which I think is very important to realize, and how they've grown. And part of the beauty of marketing to kids, not that you should market to kids, but part of the beauty of what Kiss did with marketing to kids is just that they were able to, they're able to use that to build lifelong fans, because there's still like dudes in their 40s who buy everything Kiss does.
In their 60s, for God's sakes.
Yeah, and it's not sad. It's just reminds them of, being young and beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, anybody that I think any people, like they were big well ahead of my time, and I think they were just starting to. Huh?
And you're like 58.
I'm 41, you dumbass. But anyways,
that's what I said.
Yeah. But anyways, they definitely built lifelong fans by marketing that way, and it was brilliant of Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley.
Yeah. So realize where fans are hungry for music. Take advantage of that, because that is key, right? So many people aren't looking where hungry fans are,
Well, on another note, though, you can also be creating that demand yourself by doing social media a lot. Not to keep beating a dead horse, but just to rephrase about Allfather, who I keep bringing up. Perfect example of a band creating a demand there. If they can somehow hop onto a decent label and figure out how to tour or something like that, they could be massive. I don't think they're gonna, because they all work full-time jobs, but I'm just saying, if they could figure it out, because their strategy is just fucking impeccable as far as I'm concerned.
There you go. This is the sort of thing that you need to be tackling.
Yeah.
Anyway, This has been a very dense episode packed with information. Do you have any final points you want to go over before we round this one out?
I do, just in terms of creating market needs. So, you got a couple minutes so that way we can discuss?
Yes. Oh, I always have a couple minutes for the Dumb and Dumbest podcast.
Cool. So here's a couple things. Like, so creating that market need. What would be some things that you would suggest for people to do? Because I can think of a couple of things, but I want to hear your viewpoint before I say anything.
Personalized and unique product. Childish Gambino today announced that he is doing exclusive track, 2 exclusive tracks for people who bought tickets. This isn't fucking Prince 15 years ago giving everyone CDs because they bought a ticket. That's old school. You know, people have been doing that. That's cool. I think that's a good idea, but people have been doing that.
Yeah.
This guy is fucking incentive. He's creating market need because the whole fucking issue all these rappers have is that there isn't like fucking a rapper with 1 million SoundCloud or 1 million Instagram followers will play the same venue as like Converge or like a hardcore band who, you know, I know. Yeah. And the reason is that hardcore has a history, like part of hardcore is going to shows, right?
Yeah.
Whereas fucking rap doesn't have that. So Childish Gambino looked at that and said, well, I'm only making money on my shows. How do I create a need for people to go to my shows? Fuck it. I'll give them new music.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he did. You know, I think if you create unique product, that's going to artificially stimulate demand, you know, and that's the Prophecy Productions business model. Like if you're trying to start a cool label and like get traction, it's right there. Like Prophecy just has the best packaging. So people are really into it.
So let's say that you're a band, you've already released your music. It isn't unique, but it's good. So let's say, Matt Bacon, that the band comes to you and they said, we want to create a demand for our music. They're a great band. We're not going to name any names. Let's say that they're like a stoner band, not a very unique genre. What would you say would be the first step that they should do to create that demand?
Add every single person in that scene on Facebook.
And then spam them with links?
No.
Oh.
Interact with them with meaningful content. And then once you have started to interact with people on Facebook and Instagram, I would use Instagram DMs, which have a very high ROI right now. I would use Instagram DMs. I would figure out some piece of content you could create for other bands that is meaningful and useful, and I would offer it to them for free. Or maybe you don't offer it to other bands. Maybe you hit up, this is a great idea, fucking vinyl pages, like vinyl nerd pages are like the new fucking blogs. So I would just send those guys a message and be like, hey, this is who I am. I'm, you know, this is what we're doing. Can we mail you a fucking record?
Yeah.
Because those people will respond because your email isn't on your fucking Instagram. And so, like, they're not getting 1 million press people hitting them up. So if you just hit them up and are like, yo, do you want some free shit? They're going to say yes, and they will post about you.
These are Instagram places you're talking about.
I think I genuinely think the future of music PR is getting to know Instagram influencers. And I think we're at a very exciting point right now because you can do that on your own. It's sort of like when fucking music blogs were bursting out in like 2010 and like you could still get a fucking write-up by just sending a nice looking email.
Yeah.
Same thing, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't do your own PR as a band anymore. You literally can't.
Nope.
You know, like
Very
maybe
difficult.
like if you're boys with me, like I'll give you a fucking Metal Injection stream because you're my boy. But like you're not getting fucking 10, 20, 30 results. You're getting like a Metal Injection stream. Maybe I introduce you to Vince Bellino if we're like tight. And you get in.
And then that's it.
Yeah. You know, like I'm not, you know, I like literally, if you push me beyond that, I will send you to Curtis and make you pay Curtis.
And I'm happy to take your money if you're good, but if you suck, I'm not going to take you, obviously.
You know, but you create market need by interacting with your community, by making people realize who you are. And when you're a small band, the only way people realize who you are is by interacting with them one-on-one.
Yeah, I agree.
And so many people are like, oh, well, how about like we get like 50 people at a time? That doesn't fucking work.
What do you mean get 50 people at a time?
Like someone would be like, oh, well, maybe we could like figure out a way to like make that more efficient.
Oh, I see.
And it doesn't get more efficient. It's one-on-one, on one.
And you have to be consistent. That's the key point. If you're just doing stuff like this once a week, nothing's going to happen. That's exactly. You got to interact every day. You got to do it all the time. And it's a lot of work. And if you're not willing to put in the work, then you might as well not even bother.
Exactly.
Because you can create the product of the music. And you can have this amazing and awesome product. Like we talked about this a couple of weeks ago or last week or whatever about all these bands that they'll make these amazing albums, spend 20 G's, and then do nothing afterwards, promote it, won't share any links, won't even contact anyone, and just let it die. It's stupidity.
One of the things I've been pushing hardest lately has been one of the things I've been pushing hardest lately with my bands is I have them list 10 to 20 bands in their local scene they want to communicate with.
That's a good idea.
And it's been immensely helpful.
Sounds like someone's been reading .com Secrets by Russell Brunson.
Why, yes, Curtis, I have.
Wow.
If you, too, would like to find out about .com Secrets...
Matt has an affiliate link. No, just kidding.
We should get an affiliate link for like.
I actually do have one. I signed up for ClickFunnels a few months ago, so if I ever wanted to do that, I could actually be an affiliate for it.
How do you?
Boom.
Anyway, Curtis has no friends, is what he's really trying to say with this.
No, what I'm trying to say is I haven't had time to even be pushing the book. But anyway, just as a quick commercial on that book, a lot of the ideas that Matt has been trying to forward lately, are directly lifted from that book. It's not a criticism of Matt, just saying would be very smart if you were listening to this podcast and you have any interest in marketing, which I'm assuming you do, to pick that book up. It is a phenomenal book. I've read it probably 2 or 3 times. Matt's, I think, on the first time through it. And I highly recommend that book.
Yeah, it's a banger.
Yeah, and it's not just .com secrets. It actually tells you how to do a whole marketing campaign from start to finish, whether you're doing it online or offline. So, and you can buy it for free online too. It's like, including shipping, I think it's like $8 or something in the United States.
Yeah. So essential reading. Anyway, I think we've kind of started to hit our time here, Curtis. I don't want to bore listeners. What do you have to plug, Mr. Doer?
Allfather releases tomorrow. So does Flummox. Both are excellent bands. Flummox is kind of like Mr. Bungle.
Just for the record, tomorrow is today. When you are listening, Allfather is out on Friday the 7th, I think.
Good point. So Friday, September 7th, I'll clarify that. Flummox is out. Flummox is out tomorrow. Flummox is out on Friday, September 7th, assuming this is today. It's a great album. Very kind of like Mr. Bungle. If you don't like Mr. Bungle, you won't like them, but it's very, very, very fucking cool. Weird, but cool. And then Allfather's coming out with their new album Friday, September 7th. Keep wanting to say tomorrow. And it's good. Matt streamed the Metal Injection, so he can vouch for them. And they've already, just on pre-orders, sold 80-something CDs as of this morning.
That's better than a lot of major labels do.
Yeah,
with CD pre-sales. That is not a joke.
Yeah, and these guys are independent. Just want to make sure everybody realizes this is an independent band of guys that are on their second album. Second,
yes.
Yeah, second. I'm just trying to remember because I think they had 2 EPs before. They had. Don't quote me on that. It might be only one EP. I'm going blank right now. Sorry, Tom, if you're listening to this. But anyways, they're an independent band. Last time we didn't get them into major places like we did this time, but I mean, like 80 CDs the day before your release is pretty damn good for an independent band. 80 CDs, that's not including digital copies.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know how many digital copies they have, but Tom told me this morning that they had more CD sales than digital. That's also impressive because nowadays it's usually more digital sales than physical copies that you get.
Yeah, and what I would point out too is that with 80 CD sales, if they're selling them at like 10 pounds a clip, that's like $1,200. That basically pays for all their like the PR and CD costs already, with some money paying back the fucking studio time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they got pretty much all their costs cut. I don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that they've now got their costs covered, and they haven't even played their show yet, their release show. So I'm assuming after their release show hits, they'll sell a whole bunch of shirts.
Yeah, because obviously a lot of people, like if my friend is putting out their record, I don't buy it online. I'll buy it from them at a release show.
Exactly. So they'll probably get another 50 sales, I'm guessing, at the release show, and I'm pretty sure they'll be making a profit after all is said and done. They might want to correct me on that later. I don't know, but as far as I'm concerned, what they've done is a big success. And again, you should follow them on Twitter just to see what they're doing to do that. That's good.
Exactly.
That's my plug. Flummox and All Father.
Perfect. There we go. Anyway, I want to just talk about something really fast tied into what we were talking about with market need and market gaps. One thing a lot of people hit me up for is to pitch them their record labels. That's not something I can do professionally or ethically, even if I know all those people. That's dumb. What I can do for you, though, is set you up to be in a position to sign to a record label in terms of making your shit look good, giving you ideas so that your marketing setup is, cool and not a bunch of fucking horse shit. That's what we can do for you. It's like $700 or something if you register with mentioning this podcast.
But there's no guarantee that you'll get signed, just as a...
There's no guarantee you'll get signed, but you're going to look more professional. It will get you better shows. It will get you taken more seriously by labels. It will give you a more clear direction for your band. There's a ton of deliverables that brings you huge value.
Have you had any success stories, Matt?
I've had quite a few success stories.
Let's mention a success story.
I've actually only been... It's funny because I've actually only been doing this campaign since May. I believe May, maybe April. The first band, I don't want to name it, but they did get a offer from the label they wanted to get an offer from. It's not announced yet, but I can tell you that the first band who did it has already gotten an offer, and it's pretty cool.
You also had another one last year that did something similar and got an offer right away.
Who?
Plow.
Oh, yes, Mr. Plow. Yes, Mr. Plow is another one who right away, we got their shit together, got them a clear plan, bam, signed to Ripple Music.
That was like 2 weeks in.
Yeah, these things are possible. You just need to fucking get your shit straight. Anyway, this has been another episode of Dumb and Dumbest where everything is terrible and the house is on fire.
Are we done yet?
Jesus fucking Christ.